Well, hello. Welcome to the new year. I'm Shar Warner, and this is Sam Logston, and we are going to have a little bit of tech talk today. Sam has been so kind. I've been having some issues with my phone about how to go ahead and access a church website. Let's see. The formal one is the church, what's it called?
Church Center.
Church Center. So she's going to go ahead and talk me through it and help me get it set up and get it going. And so this way, maybe perhaps you're in my same situation and we can learn it together. All right, here we go. First of all, I'm going to start off by reading Isaiah 52, verses 7 through 10. How beautiful upon the mountains are the feet of the messenger who announces peace, who brings good news, who announces salvation, who says to Zion, your God reigns. Listen, your sentinels lift up their voices. Together they sing for joy. For in plain sight they see the return of the Lord to Zion. Break forth together into singing, you ruins of Jerusalem. For the Lord has comforted his people. He has redeemed Jerusalem. The Lord has bared his holy arm before his eyes of all the nations, and all the ends of the earth shall see the salvation of our God.
So I'm really glad that this is the verse that we're starting the year with, because today is Epiphany. This is when we celebrate the wise men coming and worshiping baby Jesus, or infant Jesus, because he wasn't really a baby by the time they got there.
Right.
It was a long trip. It reminds us to go out into the world, to be messengers of peace, to be beacons of joy, and to spread the good news as far as we can. But we are in the midst of a pandemic, and we are not supposed to go out and do a whole lot. So how do we spread the gospel in today's world?
Technology!
I think the answer is easy. It's technology. Okay, so what is technology?
Well, I've always thought of technology as just a tool to make our lives a little bit easier.
Okay, and that's really good. I had to go and Google my definition because I wasn't really exactly sure. I used the word, but I had to find out. So the Google simple definition is the skills, methods, tools, and processes used to achieve different things. People can use technology to produce goods or services, to carry out goals, or just to problem solve. Now, technology may be something that we think of as a modern thing, but you can find examples of technology everywhere in the Bible. Just to name a couple, whenever the fishermen would throw their nets over the side of their boats, they were using the skills and processes available to them and the tools at that time to make a living or just to survive. And those wise men that we talked about earlier, they followed the star. It wasn't that they just woke up one day and thought, man, I really need to get on a camel and travel across the country. They had been studying the heavens for years, possibly the majority or all of their lives, using the technologies available at that time. So when the star rose in the east, they were aware of its significance. It wasn't just another pretty star in the sky. When Jesus is first calling his disciples, he goes out on Simon Peter's boat to teach the crowd because they all came in and just got right up on him and he couldn't be heard. So he used the technology, that boat, that was available to him to be able to be heard more clearly by the crowd. Now, let's jump forward a few thousand years. Technology is now no longer just something that allows us to make a living or to survive. It allows us to connect, especially with other people, and that's really important right now. So at Westminster, over the last several years, we've been adding ways for our church family to connect with each other through technology. One of the really cool things we've added is what you were talking about earlier. It's our app called Church Center. With Church Center, you can check into the worship service to let us know that you're here because we don't have the little sign-in books right now. You can give your tithe or offering. You can call or email the church office. You can get to the church website. You can, once we come back and are having more events, you can check to see what events are happening. And then we have recently added, or we're currently working on getting things smoothed out and really good to go, the ability to watch the worship service on the app, to get to the bulletin on the app, and to get to the digital directory on the app. I don't know about you, but I'm really looking forward to not having to find that email that came a few days ago with the bulletin so I can print it out. All right, so how do we access Church Center? So the first thing you're going to need to do is find your smart device.
Get a pencil, get a pad.
Always a good idea. So you can use an iPhone, an iPad, an Android phone, a tablet, any a Kindle Fire, anything that will connect to the internet and allow you to download an application to your device. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to open up your phone and you're going to go to whatever is the process you use to download an app. So on an iDevice, on an Apple device, you would go to the App Store. On an Android or Google device, you go to the Google Play, I believe. So go to the App Store and just type in Church Center into the little search bar up at the top. And it'll pull it up. It is a free application. It does not cost you anything to utilize this service that the church is providing. So you download the app to your phone. If this is your first time using Church Center, you will need to create a login. So when you download the app, once it's completely downloaded, you'll click on it to open it up. When it opens, it's going to ask you to find your worship center.
Okay.
It may refer to it as your church, your worship center, your worship community, whatever that is. It will give you a couple of options. It will allow you to either search manually, so you type in your zip code, or my preferred method is to allow it to use your location services. So now you have allowed the app to locate your local worship communities that have Church Center. At the very top, you should see Westminster Presbyterian Church, Fort Worth. The logo is a blue box with white lettering in it that says Westminster Presbyterian Church. Okay. It's our standard logo, the one that we use for everything. Yes. So it should be fairly familiar. When you find that, you tap on it. It will ask you if this is your correct location or if this is your correct worship center. And you will say, yes, next. Hit the next button. Now here's where your pen and paper are going to come in really handy.
Okay.
Because it's going to ask to send you a code to your phone. It's going to want to text you a code. The purpose of this is just to make sure that you are who you say you are.
Okay.
Because this is the only time you'll have to do this. Once you have logged in, it will know that you are logged in to Westminster's Church Center app.
Gotcha.
Every single time you open it. So you type in your cell number and hit next.
Okay.
And it will send you a code. So you go over to your text messages, get that code. It should be a 6-digit number. Write that down. Once you have gotten your code, you're going to go back to the Church Center app and type in that code into the space that it provides. Fortunately, it doesn't let you go anywhere until you have typed in that code. So it lets you type it in, and then you hit next. At this point, you should be pretty close to logged in. You may be asked to put in your email address so that it can send you verification information and just give you that login. So you put in your email address and you will create a password to log into Church Center. So nobody else can log into your Church Center and see your stuff. And that's important, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. So now we're completely logged in. So you should come to a home screen that shows the church's picture. It's a picture of the carport. Now we have two different backgrounds here. Shar is using the light background, and I'm using the dark background. The background doesn't really make a difference. We have it set to match the natural features of our phone. All right, so this home page, this landing page, it shows you a picture of the carport out front. It tells you a little bit about who we are. If you scroll down the page a little more, you can see a button that will let you call the church office, a button that will let you email the church office, and one that will take you to the church website directly, which is really nice because I don't have the website for everywhere I want to go memorized. Scrolling down a little further, it shows you the service times, and it shows you a map of the church where we are. So if this is your first time trying to physically visit Westminster, you have the map right here on your phone. So down at the very, very bottom of your screen, very, very bottom, you have a menu bar. It has home, check-in, give, sermons, and more as option buttons. So we're already on the home page. So the next page is check-in. So let's tap on check-in. This is what you would use on Sunday morning when you're going to the worship service. You may have heard Dr. Hogg in the welcome and announcements section ask for you to go to Church Center and check in to let us know that you're worshiping with us today. Here's what he means. So we've gotten to the check-in. We have actually today created an event called Testing the App. So you can go and check into that. So let's tap on Testing the App. It will take you to another page. If you have household members linked to you in the system, you can see everybody in your household here. If you haven't done that yet, it will just show you. So
Yeah, there's James.
there you go. I've got Nathan. I can check myself and Nathan in for an event.
Okay.
And you can check you and James in for an event. Or if for whatever reason one of us wasn't able to go to the event, I could check Nathan in. You could check James in, even if we're not going to the event.
Oh, all right. Well, that's good.
It's pretty cool.
Yes.
I don't know about you, but Nathan always forgets to check in for the event.
Yeah, we have that issue too.
Yes. I recommend having a household manager, somebody who is in charge of doing this on Sunday morning. All right, so we're going to test the app. So I'm the only one who's checking in right now. So I'm just going to tap on my name. It should highlight my name with a little check mark next to it. And then down at the bottom, there's now a button that has popped up that says Next. So we're going to click on Next. And then it says you are ready to check in. So we have gotten an event check-in, which gives us a little code. So if, for example, Sunday school, you were coming to drop the kids off, you could check them into Sunday school. The Sunday school teacher could then scan this code and give you a confirmation number, so that the only person who could come and pick up and leave with that child after Sunday school would be the person who has that confirmation code.
Oh, well, that's good. That's comforting to know.
It is very comforting. It may not be something that we implement immediately for Sunday school, but for things like Vacation Bible School, we actually have already used it, so it's wonderful.
Oh, good.
All right, so we're done with check-ins. That's all you have to do. On a Sunday morning, when you hit that Next button, that's all you have to do. It will say you are all checked in, and that's it. You are done. You can close the app, or you can go on to the next part of the app to go ahead and give your tithe or donation. So let's down at the very bottom on that menu bar again, the middle button is Give. So we've tapped on that. So now it brings you to a calculator looking screen. So you're going to type in the amount that you wish to give. I always use $10 as my example. And then you hit Next down at the bottom. On this next donation screen, at the very top, you will see the amount that you have typed in. Underneath that, you will see the fund where it is going to be designated to. Most general tithes and offerings go into the general church fund to be used for whatever is needed. Underneath that, if we have a special donation, though, like the Pennies for Epiphany that we just had this past weekend, that will be listed under these funds. So go ahead and tap on the funds, and you can look through them and see what they are. They have some descriptions on them. There's a little bit of everything in here. All right, so I'm going to cancel and go back to the main donation setup screen. So underneath the fund, you see frequency, how often you can post. So if you tap on that, you can make it a one-time donation. So this is the only time that this amount of money will be taken and pulled out of your account and given to the church. You can make it a weekly donation. So every Sunday morning, this will happen. Every other week, monthly, or twice monthly. So you can set up the frequency of how you want to give. Underneath that is payment method. You can add your bank account, and that will do an electronic draft directly from your account to the church. And that doesn't cost anybody any money, which is really nice, because usually with electronic transfers, somebody's got to
involved.
Exactly.
Yes.
You can also use a debit or credit card that does have that fee attached to it. It is a minimal fee, so if that's the way that you prefer to give, then go ahead and give through your credit card or debit card. All right, so let's go back. Once you have done that, there's also a button down at the bottom that lets you cover that processing fee. So if you chose to use your credit card, but you're like, I don't want the church to have to pay for this, you can cover that 25-cent processing fee right there, and it'll add an additional 25 cents to whatever it is you are donating at that time. Once you've done all that and selected everything, you just hit Next, and it makes your donation. All right.
So you're telling me I can get flyer miles for donating to the church?
Wow. Use the right card. That is the way to think about it. I hadn't considered that as an option. I can tell you're ready for vacation.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right. So we've checked into worship. We have given our tithe and offering. So now we want to make sure that we are watching the church service. So down at the bottom on the menu bar, the next button over is sermons. So just tap on that. It will take you to another page that shows Sunday services up here at the top, or special services down below. Special services are things like the Christmas Eve service. And Sunday services are just your Sunday morning worship service. Just your Sunday morning. They are your Sunday morning worship service. So let's tap on Sunday services. And at the very top here, it tells you that our next live worship service is not happening until January 10th, which is this coming Sunday. But you can go through and you can scroll down and you can see all of the church services that have happened.
You know, this is perfect for my mother-in-law who's homebound.
Oh, it's wonderful for that.
This is perfect for her. She can go back and still feel like she's part of the congregation.
Oh, definitely. Oh, for sure. So now we've figured out how to watch the Sunday service. Apparently you can also, and I am just learning this with you. See, this is what happens when you explore an app.
I love it.
You can share a service directly from the app. So let me send you a service, Shar.
Okay.
All right, let's see. Oh, wonderful. So to share the service, you would tap on the service that you want. Then at the very top, and up here, it is on the top right of my screen. It's a little box with an arrow on it. So I just tapped on the arrow, and it brought up a menu that I could share. And I just tapped on my text messages and sent it over to Shar.
Wow.
Does her,
I'm impressed. Woo!
I learned something new today, too. I didn't know you could do that. But when you are watching the service, there are also two buttons here. There's a giving button. So if you are actively watching the service and we get to the tithes and offerings portion and you realize, oh, I haven't done that yet, you can tap on the giving button and it will take you directly to that giving platform. There is also a prayer request button here in the service. So if you have a prayer request that you need to get out to your church family, you can tap on that button and it will take you to a page where you can type in your prayer request and specify if it's a private prayer request for just the minister and staff or if it's for the entire congregation to go out on the prayer chain. All right, so let's go back to our main menu, and down at the bottom on that bottom menu bar, we're going to hit More. Now, More brings up several different things. We've got bulletins, groups, calendars, events, and directory. So just starting at that top one, bulletins. Tap on the bulletins. There is a list of all of the bulletins that we have available. Right now we're still only available up through the middle of December, but we are working to get those current. So you will be able to soon find all of the bulletins right here. And it does hold on to them. So if you needed to find the bulletin from last week or a month ago, you can come here and look at them.
Perfect. So this way, if I wanted to reference a song or something that was said before and I loved it,
that's music to my ears,
Shar. I could go ahead and say, Sam, it was on this date.
Exactly. And then I can go back and I can look at it. All right. And then going back a screen, we now are going to tap on the groups button. So with groups, these are all of the smaller groups that make up the church. So things like the outreach and mission team, or the media and marketing team, or every single one of the teams has its own group. We also have all of the different choirs. They have their own groups. The Mariners have a group. The Presbyterian women have a group. Each one of the Presbyterian women's circles has a group so that you can join all these different things. Our tech arts team has a group. So all of the groups that you are a part of will show up here at the top under My Groups. If you were looking for another group and you want to see what all's out there, you can scroll down the page a bit to find a group. There's small groups, serving opportunities, and other groups. So small groups are things like the choirs. The serving opportunities are going to be all of the volunteer opportunities that we have here at the church. And then other groups are going to be the special groups that don't really seem to fit into either one of those other two genres. So I encourage you to go and look through there. Some of the groups, when you tap on them, you will be able to ask to join. Others you'll be able to join immediately. and some of you will need to be invited to join. So just go ahead and look through all the groups. All right, so let's go back to that More tab. So we have the calendar is next up. Right now, not a whole lot going on here at the church. That's okay. Worship every single Sunday at 10 a.m. is listed.
Hey, that's good.
That is good. So if you forget what time worship is, you can come here, go to the More tab, and tap on Calendar, and it will show you all of the worship services coming up. Once we start having more events and more things happening back here at the church, there may be more in this app, or in this part of the app. All right, so going back a screen to events. Now, events are the things that are all church events. So like the holiday gift market when we have that, or Easter brunch when we do things like that. Those are going to show up here in the events section. Or there's actually
like when we do the occult ministry coming up.
Yes, so the CCA coat drive that's coming up for outreach and mission, the morning of mission, that would be an all church event, and so that will show up here in the events tab.
All right.
So let's go back. And one more thing before we jump off of the events tab, I'm sorry. If there is an event like Vacation Bible School that requires a registration, you can actually tap on the event in this events tab and register directly from the app.
Makes it so much easier.
Oh, it really does. It really does. And if we do anything that would require a payment, like if we were going to, when the men's ministry would go to Mo Ranch every year, if there was a payment associated with that, you could also make the payment directly through the app.
Wow.
So it's all in one place instead of having to go to multiple sites. Okay, so going back to that More tab, the last thing in that More tab is the directory button. So this is the digital form of the hard copy paper directory that we usually pick up every year in January, or whenever we pick it up. But last year, we noticed that there were a lot of paper directories that were left here in the church office because people just couldn't physically get to the church to pick them up.
It was a pandemic thing that really caused that, I think.
It was a pandemic. So what do you do?
When in doubt, blame the pandemic.
When in doubt, blame the pandemic. So, but what do you do to work around the pandemic?
Technology.
Digital directory.
Cool.
We didn't even plan that one. That one just worked out. So you can scroll through here and you can see people's first and last name and their email address. That's all you can see, which is wonderful. So that if you need to get a hold of somebody real quick, you have their email address just right there at your fingertips so you can send them an email. Now let's go back to our home button. On the main menu down at the bottom, hit home. Now we're gonna talk about a little bit how to manipulate your own personal profile in Church Center. So up toward the top right of the screen, you should see a little bubble with a person in it.
Oh, there he is, right up there.
There he is. When you tap on that bubble, it takes you to your account. So the very first thing up at the top, it should say your name. You can tap on your name, and it takes you to your personal profile. So you can update, you can add a photo if you would like. You can put in a mobile phone number, a landline phone number, however many email addresses you have.
Hey, you know what, Sam? That would be a good thing for next time for you to show me how to put the photo on there. Not now, next time.
I like it. We'll talk a little bit more about manipulating all of this information. I just wanted to touch base on it. Let you know it was there. You can add your address. That is all more public-facing information. The private information is down under profile information, and that's where you can put in things like your gender, your birth date. If you are filling this in for a child, you can put their grade level, their school. You can add your marital status. You can add your anniversary. If you have any medical notes that the church staff needs to be aware of, any allergies, severe allergies, or things that we need to watch out for and kind of help keep each other safe, because that's part of what being in a church family is watching out for each other. You can put that information in here. When you've completed your profile to the fullness of your comfort level, you hit update in the top right corner. Instantly done.
Wow.
All right, scrolling down the page a little bit more, you've got my stuff, which is my giving. When you tap on that, it will show you a history of your giving transactions. So however many giving transactions you have made, if you have that automatically set up to do the once a month or the once weekly, it shows it right here. So if you see something and you are just not sure what's going on, you can keep track of your giving right here. It's got my registrations. So all of those things from the events tab that we talked about, if you've registered for anything, it will show you what you've registered. And it does keep a historical record. So if you want to see if your kids went to Vacation Bible School last year, you can look back and see. It's got my directory settings. So then here you can choose what people see about you. So you can go in and look at that. Next up, it's got my groups. So whatever groups you are a part of will show up here in this. All right, going down a little bit more, you've got your payment methods. You can add your bank account here. You can add your debit or credit card here. Going down a little bit more, it's got your household, so you can see who all's in your household and their pictures if you like. Then going down a little bit more, you can change the appearance. So if you preferred the dark background or the light background, you can set it that way. You can, if you have the Face ID, you can set it so that the app opens with your Face ID instead of having to remember your password every time. I highly recommend, if you have the ability to set up the thumbprint or the Face ID, do it. I really appreciate that.
Really?
All right. So that is, I feel like, a pretty good overview of Church Center.
Well, I appreciate this so much, Sam, because now I feel more confident that I now can actually use it. I know it's been there for a long time, and I'd go, James, work it, work the magic. And so now I feel more independent. I can do this myself.
Oh, it's so easy once you know what you're doing.
Right. And my other little questions are what? We can get back together and chat about it. Maybe perhaps some other time. I'd like that.
Definitely.
Perfect.
Definitely.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome. And if you have any questions about Church Center, you can play this video back as many times as you need to go through it. I do highly recommend playing this video back as many times as you need to and pausing it whenever and wherever you need to. Hopefully that will help.
All right. Shall we end in prayer?
I think so.
All right. Here we go. Dear Lord, thank you so much for giving Sam her wisdom to share with myself and others here to help us guide through this new process of technology that we're living through this day and age. We thank you so much for everything, and we pray this in your Son's holy name. Amen.
Amen.
Bye now.